Unit 3 is my favorite unit of AP Gov. It's all about our rights, and you have the right to smash that like button. One of the main ideas in AP Gov is about balancing liberty and security, and that's what this unit is all about. It's about finding that balance between individual rights and governmental power. Most of this unit is about civil liberties, meaning individual personal freedoms. These are often described as freedoms too. In other words, freedoms for people to do things they want to do, like the freedom to speak their mind, or practice a religion, or the right to bear arms. And if you already recognize those from the Bill of Rights, then we are off to a good start. During the ratification debates, Anti-Federalists demanded the addition of a Bill of Rights to the Constitution to protect individual liberties and to limit the power of the federal government. Said another way, the Bill of Rights protects our civil liberties by limiting the power of the federal government. Many people misunderstand and think that the Bill of Rights gives us some rights, but that's not it at all. Rather, the Bill of Rights limits governmental power, saying that there are certain individual rights we all have that it's not allowed to infringe on. The thing is, like the rest of the Constitution, the Bill of Rights is continually being interpreted and reinterpreted. For example, in an 1833 case called Barron versus Baltimore, the Supreme Court held that the Bill of Rights only protected people from the federal government. It did not restrict state and local governments. Notice the first words of the First Amendment: Congress shall make no law. The federal government was being restricted. Nothing about the states. However, beginning in 1925, the Supreme Court began to reinterpret the Bill of Rights as restricting state and local governments also. That's a huge deal and is the subject of topic 3.7. And I know it's out of order, but my advice is that that should be the next video you watch in this unit. For now though, let's go through each of the amendments in the Bill of Rights one at a time. The First Amendment famously includes the freedom of religion, speech, press, and the right to a petition for a redress of grievances. This amendment is probably the most fundamental statement of individual rights and says that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, etc. No law. The thing is though, none of our rights are absolute. So these rights being limited in some way or another is almost inevitable. A lot of this unit is about the debate over the proper interpretation of these amendments. Are any limits of our rights acceptable? And if so, where's the line between our rights being trampled versus the government merely attempting to keep people safe? The Second Amendment protects the right to bear arms. We'll discuss this one more thoroughly in video 3.5, but our main question is going to be, do the people have the right to bear arms for the purpose of self-defense? Or is the right to bear arms connected to militia service? The Third Amendment prevents quartering of troops in private homes during peacetime. This means that during peacetime, US troops can't show up at your door and kick you out of your house. This was one of the rights that many at the founding thought was most important, but today it's one we don't talk about much and neither does this class. The Fourth Amendment is another great one. It protects people from unreasonable searches and seizures. Of course, you may notice the potential problem with this one. What makes a search reasonable or unreasonable? The amendments from the 4th to the 8th are often described as the rights of the accused. In other words, the rights we have if we're suspected of a crime. The Fifth Amendment includes various due process rights, including the protection against self-incrimination. That's where the famous right to remain silent comes from. But notice, it only protects you from incriminating yourself. It doesn't say you can remain silent to protect your grandma when the police realize that she's the drug queenpin of the lower 48. It also protects against double jeopardy, meaning that you can't be charged with the same crime twice. Literally the same crime for the same incident. It also includes eminent domain, stating that if the government takes your property for public use, that they have to give you fair compensation. You also have the right to a grand jury in capital cases. A grand jury is different than a normal jury. Before you're officially charged, the government has to show the evidence it has against you to a grand jury who reviews the evidence and decides whether there's enough evidence to charge you and put you on trial. The Sixth Amendment is the right to a speedy and public trial by jury in criminal cases. We often focus on the speedy part and the jury part, but a public trial sure beats a private trial where things are done in secret. The Seventh Amendment is a right to a trial by jury in civil cases. That means cases over money like lawsuits. The Eighth Amendment protects people from cruel and unusual punishment and excessive fines and bail. This is another of kind of those subjective words, and certainly our collective view of the sort of punishment that is cruel and unusual is very different today from what they were thinking about 200 years ago. The Ninth Amendment is unenumerated rights of the people, acknowledging that people retain other rights besides the ones listed in the first 8. Just because it wasn't specifically listed in the first 8 amendments doesn't mean we don't have that right. And the 10th Amendment is our federalism amendment, so it doesn't really fit here, but it reserves powers to the states. We'll get into a lot of detail on these amendments over the next few videos, and I can't wait. Until next time, this has been a LaMoney production. Thanks again for watching. Like, subscribe, ring the bell, all that stuff. And if you want to get some great resources to help you in class and on the AP exam, you might want to check out the Ultimate Review Packet. And I will see you in the next video.